Anybody? Anybody work on boilers? Anybody? By hand?
Service them.
Service them? Install them? Anything? What do we know about them though?
They make heat.
Yeah? How they make heat?
Water.
It's like a giant water heater, right?
Yeah.
Alright. Well, start off with the basic boiler. Alright, I got a dead bug. Thank you, Mike. Boilers, y'all. Boilers operate by water. Well, by gas, steam, two different types of boilers. The types of boilers you have gas boilers. My hand right slide me.
That marker's dying too.
You got steam. Two total different boilers. You got the same job. Heat your house by radiation, by convection. There are two types of ways that a house get heated. You might have seen the radiators before. We've all seen a radiator before. We've all grew up in a house that had a radiator, seen the damn radiator before. All right, so radiators and convectors, which is like the baseball heat. You see, that's how they operate. So when it connects, here's your boiler. I'm gonna make a pretty boiler for y'all too. A little bit. That's a,
I'm done. I ain't had time for my conversation. I ain't be on time.
right. Got your boiler. Alright. All your fancy pipes and all that. All that. The exhaust. It's cute exhaust. But is your regular, I would say this is just a regular gas boiler. On your boilers, you have expansion tanks. You might walk into some houses that have the expansion tanks sitting like in the ceiling. Or you might have the big ones that we have, the big 60s, that we go grab from Schumacher or something like that, replace it. They're the ones that we could just put all the air scoops or whatever. I'll get into all the components and stuff that go on the boiler, but it's pretty much just showing you how it's set up and how it's piped. The boilers, the pipes that's coming from the boiler, or the pipes that go to the pipes that's going to the radiators that's feeding the house. So, just showing y'all right there just how some of the pipes are just connected. And when they run, the ones that were going out are the ones that's running to the house. Difference between gas and steam, you got a gas boiler, runs off of just gas, you need gas. You can have a gas steam boiler as well. But with the gas boiler, I should say water and steam. Water runs off of the water that's going circulating through the house, because on the water boilers they have what's on there, which is a circulator pump. And circulator circulates the water through the pipes, through the house. It's the purpose of the circulator pump, is just to circulate the water going through the system. And the water just goes all through the house, all through the pipes, all around through the convectors and everything like that. And it heats up, causing you to have heat.
Are they ran in series or parallel?
What's that? The pipes?
The
These pipes are ran in series. Now, with steam, you have same method, except it's not water running all the way through. It's steam going through.
So is it a steam line that connects to the boiler, and then there's like a steam pressure reducer, or is it just water going to the boiler, then it creates the steam?
Yeah, the water goes through the water that goes through the boiler. It fills up just enough to have enough in it to go through your house and steam and radiate heat. On the actual steam boiler itself, which you won't see on the water boiler, is a sight glass. It's a sight glass that's on a steamer It'll let you know the amount of water that's in it, and if it's bouncing, it'll let you know that it's good, it has the right amount of flow in it to circulate to go through the steam and the heat up. If that glass is filled up to the top, you're gonna have issues. Most likely you're gonna have a clog issue somewhere. Steam boilers, one thing steam has that water boilers really don't have as far as the issues and problems and diagnosis and stuff like that, is steam pipe rust from the inside out. So a lot of the problems that you're gonna have with steamers is internal rust, stuff like that. Inside your, and on steamers, you're gonna have different, they have different components on both boilers. One has a like circulator pump, stuff like that. They all have some of the same bells and whistles, expansion tanks and all that on this one. With the steamer, it pretty much with the pipe, that what out here. It rusts from, like I said, it rusts from the inside out. The difference is with the steamer, with the radiation, with the bleeding, they have little bullets that goes on the radiators. So the way you tell the difference between the radiators, you go to a regular house with just a regular water boiler, and you see it's the radiator. It's just the radiator. You may have convectors with like little bleeders on the end of them, like stuff like that. You go around, you bleed them, get the air out of the house. Steamers have like little bullets on the radiators themselves. They like little silver bullets. They just auto bleeders. So you just put those on. They should just do their job. But it's definitely a big difference between these two systems. Not a whole lot different, but one steams, one's water. Anything else y'all want to know about it? Any questions?
What's like, does, when a steam, does it have to get to a certain temperature to create the steam? What temperature does it need to be to operate through the system to create the steam? Like, is there a certain like pressure, temperature that it needs to get to create the steam to run through the pipes, through the radiators?
212.
Should be boiling
212,
point. It
yeah.
should be standard boiling point.
Some of the industrial commercial stuff that'll run a higher pressure steam, everything residential is considered low pressure steam.
Right.
It maxes out, the relief valve is 15 PSI. So it'll start out with zero pressure on it until the water starts boiling. The pipes are designed to just let the steam flow through it naturally. So they have bigger pipes, it'll just naturally flow up and flow back down,
Right.
and then condense, come back down. It won't start building pressure until the boiler heats up, it starts building steam, then it goes up into the radiators, they have to all heat up, and all the little bleeders have to snap shut. They're all temperature based. The bleeders are temp based. Once they start getting steam on them, they'll get hot and close. And after all that stuff gets hot and shuts down, then it'll start building pressure in the system itself. They're usually, steamers have what's called a pressure troll. It's just a pressure switch on it that actually turns the burner on and off. And usually they're set anywhere 2 to 5 PSI to turn off the burner.
Alright.
When would you, when you're filling up a regular water boiler,
Mm-hmm.
how would you know, when it's full? Would it just, they got an automatic feeder on
Yeah,
it?
some have auto feeders.
Water comes out the bleeders.
Or it come out the thing?
Yeah. You gotta admit, the radiators have a manual bleed on them. You open them up and let all the air out until water comes out, and then once water comes out, you close them. And the auto feeder should take care of just feeding fresh water in at the right pressure.
Okay. So we'll know when it's empty, to pour water back in the tank.
Once the water's
Well-
in, it should be, like you said, auto feed. It
Or
should
if you,
If it's low in water, test the auto feed, make sure that it's working.
okay.
make sure it's working. Some of them do have low water cutoff, and it should be a light on it to indicate that boiler has low water. And I know some of the newer things, some of the newer models, some of the newer boilers have the auto bleeders, I mean, not auto bleeders, the auto feeders that we install. So once that light comes on, it'll go ahead and fill it.
Yeah, I noticed that. I was talking like some old ones that don't have it.
Yeah. We find a lot of those on steamers as well too,
Yeah.
on steam boilers.
Be careful bleeding them so you don't like get water all over their house.
Yeah.
When you bleeding them, it should be just like a little spot of water come out. It shouldn't be a whole lot where we have to call Will, and get the plumbing involved. But it should just be just a little squirt of water just come out when you bleed. So
when you get what if you get water in your steam line and it starts knocking? How would you fix that solution?
water in the steam lines.
Yeah, you know how you get like you have a steam. You should have a steam line like as far as a steam boil, and you get some type of water sediment inside of it.
Your pipes
and you
banging.
know it start banging like bing, 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 bing.
Yeah.
How can you? How would you fix that problem? Like, how would you go to like?
Me personally, I would
have to drain it.
drain it all the way out completely, start, refilling or whatever back up, but sounds like it's a bleeding issue somewhere. The air in the pipes is supposed to just go through. Like a lot of times in the wintertime that happens, it's cold, as it's passing through, it'll collapse in the pipes. And once it collapses in the pipes, it's causing that banging sound
Right.
in the pipes and in the systems.
It partially depends on where it's banging. Like, assuming your sight glass is in the right place, it depends on where you're getting the water buildup. With steam systems, they haven't been put in since the 1920s. So you're dealing with stuff that's 100 years old anywhere you look at it. Make sure the radiators are level, because a lot of times the floor will just sink. If they're pitched back away from the pipe, water will pull down here and then it'll bang in the radiators. If it's banging in the pipes, like I said, they corrode from the inside out, so they will get a sediment buildup in them, and they don't always have enough flow. There's not enough water flow to rinse all the dirt back through, so their return pipe can get clogged also.
Right.
A lot of times that'll bang in the pipes all the way at the return side, and because the cold water was just sitting there and it can't ride back. That's a lot more difficult to fix, because
It sounds like you had to take the whole thing and just redo the whole return line. Sounds like.
we have sometimes.
Yeah, we have done that.
Sometimes we've taken them apart, and sometimes we've replaced the things, because they'll just get corroded up, like galvanized water pipe, how it'll just shrink down. The return pipes will do the same thing, and they'll just close down to where they won't flow enough anymore. Sometimes we've been able to take the pipes apart and ream it out, clean all the stuff out of it. That is a hot, labor-intensive mess, but oftentimes it comes down to some type of return issue. Water shouldn't ever just sit in the pipes.
Right.
It should flow somewhere.
Right.
Most of the time, it's not a design issue. The people that put this stuff in were really, really good at what they did. There's something else wrong with it. It's almost never a design problem. It's usually something moved, something clogged,
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you're saying like restriction causes will cause like the water buildup? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So definitely time for a pipe switch. Switch the
Yeah.
pipe out.
Yeah.
Run it down. Run a fresh line, or however you choose to run it. But steam it's just bad, and it's just known for just rusting from the inside out. And you ever take a pipe apart? I wish I had one to even show you. It's really bad. It gets ugly inside of those boats. Yeah, man. But and especially steam. Take a pipe apart, or one of those pigtails or something like that. They clog up a lot over the years. They clog. And it's just a quick, diagnosis for you guys. If you go to a call and you see something like that, and the sight glass is full or it's overflowing, it's something not right. Dirt is just built up. Everything's just built up. It's clogged up. It's icky in there, man. And not only that, when the sight glass is like that, the sight glass has. You might see one of these like on the sight glass. This is super ugly, but it's gonna work today. I ain't Van Gogh, nothing like that. Get what I got. Look, so on the sight glass, it's not pretty. It's not bad. On the sight glass is this like the sight glass on the front. You see that thing that has like the two knobs on it?
Yeah.
You might have seen that. You seen that, right? It's the two valves on the top, one at the top, one at the bottom. Now, you might get a call I'm not saying when, but you might get a call saying, hey, my sight glass is dripping. It's messed up. It's dripping. It's rubber gaskets inside of these. And they're very easy to take apart. You just unscrew. I'm gonna do it that way. Because when you have the knobs, you have underneath of it these two caps. They unthread. They're not threaded on tight, so you don't have to send them down to kill them. But you just take them off, you unthread these two. There's two caps on them, you unthread those, take the line out. Now a lot of times what happens over time is that line and that glass inside it just gets old. It chips, it gets bad. So your leak could be coming from there, and if it's coming from there, it's a very replaceable part. You just go grab the glass, or you can grab the glass from Schumacher, something like that. It's like $3. They'll trim it down, you trim it down, or whatever. You need a sight glass cutter, because you can't just cut that glass. If you try to buy it yourself from the store or something like that, it's gonna come in like a foot. Most time you need one, about if you need a regular glass, it's gonna most likely be like 8 inches. That's how much most standard glasses are. But if it's chipped in there, you'll see, as soon as you take it out, if you got a leak issue, it's chipped in there somewhere. But even when you're dealing with the clog issue with the sight glass, it was filled up in this clog, then the whole section comes out. So what you do is you just take these two knobs off, take everything off, unthread them. Everything is threaded. So you unthread them, take the glass and stuff off, take everything off. Once you have it bare, and you just have your two lines coming out, once you take everything off, you're just gonna have 2 pipes coming out, about 2 3-inch pipes that attaches this whole section, right? You take everything, unthread everything, take everything out, unthread everything goes right back in. Unthread it out, and take those 2 pipes out. When you take those 2 pipes out, you're gonna see where the clogs are. As soon as you take these valves off, you will see that it's stopped up right there. A lot of mud, a lot of icky, a lot of dirt. Is just gonna be clogged right in those two, right. You can look inside of the 2 pipes, the steel pipe, and you'll be able to see the dirt and stuff that's packed up inside of the unit where the water is not getting through, and sight glass is stuck like that. So you had to probably clean it out, get something to clean it out with, unthread it, clean the actual bowl itself, clean the pipes out, stick everything back in, and then fill it back up. You shouldn't have no problems with the water again.
So that sight glass determines how much water is in the boiler?
It shows you.
Yeah,
Okay.
it'll show you. But if it's filled up to the rim, I mean, what you want is your water to be about halfway in there. So if your water is halfway in there and it's bouncing, it's supposed to just bounce. That shows you the heat is working, it's doing what it's supposed to do, it's circulating it the way it's supposed to. That water's supposed to just bounce in there. If you get like a little brown water in there and stuff like that, then from you cleaning it, you just put like a little bit of water back in it. But it's not harmful, it's not bad. But you are seeing how dirty it was when you start filling it back up, because it's a lot once you start cleaning it. So you might see some water get back up in there. And if you got a little water up in there, it's supposed to be about halfway, just bouncing. You never want to see it full to the top. You never want to see it too low either. So you always want to see your sight glass with that water in there about halfway, and you want to see it bouncing, going up and down, showing you how the heat is. Yeah.
And once it starts boiling,
It
and water starts moving around, the sight glass will start jumping a little bit. Kind of lets you know the water's starting to boil. And then steam pipes, the pipes coming up, they'll be cold, then they'll get hot real quick.
I think it was every old one we've ever done. It's always
With the
called.
pipe work, you're gonna see a lot of difference too. Steamers have way bigger pipes than your actual water boilers. Water boilers can go as small as even down to 3/4 pipe running over through your house.
And steam don't usually have a circular pump, right?
No,
They don't
water.
never have a circulator pump.
Water has a circulator pump.
Yeah, steam don't.
Steam doesn't.
Yeah,
So, steam just heating up water and it's steaming through your house. You should never have water in your radiators. You shouldn't have water in your radiators at all.
Steam.
For steam. For steam. For steam.
And I was like, no way, right?
For steam. There's also different types of boilers as well. It's not just gas boilers. We also have oil operated boilers as well. Same thing, same components, except you just have to take your focus now more on to the oil burner side of things. And we all work on oil burners, and we all seen how they work. They work the same with everything. With furnaces, water heaters, everything. It's the same setup. It's the same, most likely Beckett sitting right there, stuck in there somewhere doing burner stuff. And it operates the same with everything. We service them the same as we service the burner on the boiler the same way you would service the burner on a furnace or something like that. So it's It's the same thing. You might run across one here and there this winter. A lot of times you won't. I can guarantee you probably run across probably about 2. We maybe even install probably about 1. Just going offhand, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what can happen this year, but you find it a lot in city homes. So you see a lot wherever there's a lot of oil heat in the city, and then it's like you're gonna run across those oil fire furnaces. That's why a lot of people are converting from the oil to gas. And if you hear a lot of people, everybody want to convert from oil to gas, because it's expensive. Flat out, there's no way to put it. Especially if you got a combi. If you're running a combi boiler, that's another type of boiler. It's a combi boiler, which means you just have unlimited heat, and you have heat pretty much for a lifetime. It's just when you just don't have no water heater, and your water heater heat, your house water is running off of the actual boiler heat, the boiler water. So you're not drinking the boiler water. It's backflow preventers and stuff like that. It's not from drinking boiler water. But you don't want to drink boiler water. But it heats your water in your house as well as the heat. It's going through
Have you
your
seen
faucets.
those, Mike?
Combis? Yeah.
Yeah,
We
we
run across a
actually
couple
changed
times.
one of the coils at that one dude's place.
And we almost touched the boiler. We thought we had to change the boiler, but we didn't.
Right. When we changed the little coil that goes out of there, had to pull that thing. It was like black and
Yeah.
it's just
You
gummed
guys
up.
seen those?
and-
You ever see one of those?
Yeah, we saw one not too
Right.
long ago.
Like
You,
the little heating coils that's inside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did it with you two.
Yeah.
What's it called? But you guys ever seen a propane boiler?
Yeah.
They're alright. I didn't know.
We haven't seen one, but I've saw
Never seen
one
no.
like in reading about them. We didn't saw one or like out in the field, but they do have propane. Propane
Was there
is
a conversion kit or something?
it should be.
Regular gas.
They're regular gas, so you can
Right.
theoretically you just convert the gas valve
Right.
and
Right. It's
convert
just
them
a little
over.
valve.
But realistically, you're probably
Not gonna
never
run
going
your
to see
house
one.
off propane.
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen a couple.
it's
I've
just
seen 2 so far.
I've seen none since I've been here.
Propane boilers?
I've read about them. Never
I've seen 2.
installed one.
Never seen one.
Never
I've
seen
seen
one.
propane water heaters. I've never seen a propane boiler.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, read about them.
Propane boiler.
YouTube.
So what's your common problem in, that be, boilers?
Boilers?
The main, like the normal fail.
Like if I'm going out there as a service tech, what's the main thing that would go wrong? What's the first couple things that I should start testing?
Alright, you going out for what type of boiler you wanna go out for? If you sound like an oil fired,
Let's go with the regular, gas.
regular water,
Gas, water.
Yeah.
gas water. A lot of issues you're gonna run across in that. People gonna say, this radiator doesn't get cold. It's not getting cold up here. Something's not right. It's a lot of air elimination things that need to go on with the water, with the gas. So a lot of times you will have either ignition problems that's going on with the bad ignition modules that are on them. If not that, then it's definitely a circulation issue somewhere. They also have circulator pumps, which has the water to circulate through. Then they have also one that they have aquastats. If it's an electronic issue, then most likely you want to look at your aquastat, which is this box right here. This is your aquastat. So a lot of times you're going out there, it's an electrical issue, it's a mechanical issue, something like that. They say, hey, it's not starting. Check the aquastat.
Freddie,
So how does that do?
Alright. There's boilers, water boilers, no matter what, they only do 2 things: heat the water and pump it. So the question becomes, what's it not doing? Like, is it,
not heating the water?
if it's not heating the water, then why is it not? Is the aquastat bad? Is it getting voltage to the burner? Is there something wrong with the burner or with the gas valve? That type of thing.
So that controls basically like the on and off switch of the boiler.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Pretty
so-
much.
yeah.
This is the thermostat for the boiler,
Alright.
pretty much.
That thing will get your house power, and your thermostat will tie to it, and that controls the burner and the circulator.
Okay.
I'm gonna pass this around. On the actual burner is actually the terminals are actually on here, labeled on here. B1, B2 will be your burners, and right here you'll see where the C1, C2 terminals come. Pass that around. C1, C2 are the circulator terminals. It's not circulating water. Water, and like none of your radiators getting anything. The water's just not circulating. Now you might get it on. It'll go through because that's what the boiler does. Some of them gravity heat, so it'll go up to certain radiators. If you have certain ones in the house that's not getting it, it's because this is probably a bad circulation issue. And if it's check your circulator pump. It's supposed to do what it's supposed to do. Circulator pump's supposed to have 0.8 amps. Regular standard for the regular small tacos. And on the boilers, the little small tacos, the bigger ones supposed to be 1.3 amps. The bigger motors, the big giant ones that you see on there, it's supposed to be like at least 1.3 amps. If you're not getting that, it's a bad circulator pump. If you're not getting 0.8 amps on your small taco circulator pump, then that's a bad circulator pump.
Is it 0.8 amps?
0.8 amps.
If you're not getting 0.8 amps, bad.
Yeah. It's just a bad circulator pump. It doesn't take a lot for the circulator pump to kick and do what it's supposed to do. You don't need, 100,000 volts for that thing to run.
Yeah, okay.
It just needs a.
Make sure you're getting the voltage to the circulator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just went out on one the other day. Went through everything. First it was low in water, because bleeds were bad, it was low in water, wasn't filling back up. When you try to bleed it, nothing comes out, that's usually a water feed issue. There's little screens in there, they will clog up over time. So if it just won't feed, then it's usually a water feed issue. If your radiators aren't getting hot, usually upstairs first, actually flat out upstairs first, because hot air goes up. They'll get airlocked, or the radiator only heats halfway up, then it's full of air. If only one section of it heats up, then it could be a circulator issue. If it takes forever to get hot, it's usually a circulator issue. Burners are either on or off.
Sometimes zone valve.
Yeah.
If you have a certain.
Some boilers have the zone valves on
And then
like the little beehives.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see like the little
I
beehives.
answered that when the zone valve was broken, it wouldn't have to be replaced.
It's a lot of little fun components on boilers. I mean, wish we go over all of them. There's so many of them. But even with this thing, this thing right here is definitely, like we'll say that it's difficult to install, but it's not. It's just a screw, pop it, turn it, take it off. When you install it back, it's gonna come with the silver pack, especially if you buy one of these straight out the box from the store. It's gonna have some silver stuff in it. You have to put that silver stuff on here, on this tube, on this bulb. And when you put this water sensor in there, it's like the water sensor. So you put the silver stuff on there, you gel it up, hold it up, and you stick it back in there.
And this is after you drain it, you have to drain it to.
Drain it.
Nope, you don't have to drain it to change those.
You don't?
Nope.
Okay.
So
Just
just
like
lube it, stick it
very
back on there.
rarely, there's
Huh?
one that screws in.
Yeah, extremely rarely. Ones with a really old one that doesn't attach. Most of them have a modern attachment. But if you're doing a normal one, you shouldn't have to drain the water.
And they now make these digital, called Aqua Smarts. Pretty much the same thing, except it's just electronic. Probably won't run into a lot of those. If you do, you probably installed it. So, but you most likely you'll see these most of the
So
time.
basically the T's for stat, the B for burner, the C for circulator.
Yes, L1, L2 is your line voltage coming in to the house. The red and white is your thermostats, and then your burners. Everything's pretty much set for you how to hook it right back up. And then the C1, C2 terminals, those are coming off of the circulator. Yeah, yeah,
So you just C1, C2, black and white.
yeah. And then inside of the circulator pump is black and yellow wires.
Nobody's black, yellow.
Black and yellow, black and white. And you just
Brown one.
you just in the ground, you just hook it right back up to that, and then the whip that's coming from the circulator pump comes right back to here, line it up, C1, C2,
Okay.
straight out the circulator.
So I wouldn't have the,
I've actually never hooked up one, but.
So what's a zone stat?
Zones, they on the lines itself, like
Zone
if you see certain lines, like certain lines running from the boiler, And that's actually pretty, that's not bad.
It looks like a birthday cake.
It does. Candles.
Make a wish.
Birthday.
Make a wish.
I wish you could draw that $3.
You look at me on tape. But we,
This class is recorded for quality assurance.
some of them look, they don't look like half as good as this, but when you see them, they look like little beehives. They look just like little beehives, little honeycombs. They look like little beehives. And it's a little valve on them. They get stuck. A lot of them get stuck. Some of them get stuck open, some of them get stuck closed. But
So what is it, to like heat a certain area?
yeah, if you want to shut off a certain zone, then you can just close the valve
So
inside.
each one got like its own thermostat?
Yes.
It's pretty much, yeah.
Alright.
Oh, you smart.
Yeah.
You smart, you loyal. But
Depending on how they're laid out,
Yeah.
they'll either be first floor, second floor, east side, west side, that type of thing. So if they're going first floor, second floor, the first floor will have a thermostat. That thermostat will call, depending on how it's laid out, sometimes they'll go to a circuit board, to one big zone board. Those beehive valves, you can run analog, run your thermostat straight back to that, then that'll daisy chain. Once that thing opens, it'll tell you everything else to work. But the zone valve, or the zone stat, will call till that thing opens, then it'll turn the boiler on and only open that valve to only heat, say, the west side of your house. Unless this one calls also, then it'll open that one up, both of them will heat. But you can do just one half and then the other half, and they'll run that way.
something like zone dampers.
Yeah.
Something like zone dampers, but it's just
I'm
more.
thinking the way we used to fight these convectors, and we used to run supply and return, but they was all connected. So I guess that's what series.
Yeah.
So you would have to run this one like branch off the main line to tie it in to have that zone.
They'll,
Basically, it sounds like,
It's easier to draw it than sell it. You gonna take that birthday cake?
yeah, going to the whole house.
Put a big gate around it.
You'll have, we're doing it, you have your boiler here, and you'll have, one loop will go here, you have a small loop going there. And you have your little convectors on it, your baseboard. Baseboards are always running in series versus the radiators that are running parallel. So if this thing gets air in it, the whole loop will just shut down, and it doesn't matter what you do with it. There, there, that way. Do.
Right, it'll cut. Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah.
It'll kind of branch off that main line
Yeah.
to feed them different zones. Because I was saying, like, if it was in series, if you was to try to control the lower floor, you basically controlling the whole house because you wouldn't be able to get no
Yeah.
one on the second floor. Yeah. Alright.
Yeah. Then you'll have your usually big pump right here, and I don't remember the 7-foot pump off the top of my head. But it'll run through your boiler, and then it'll be branched off however many zones you have on there. So zone 1, 2, 3, just to put a name on
it'll be like circular pump, right? For each one to put the pump it to that area.
it. Depends. Sometimes they'll have zone valves and a single pump. Sometimes you'll have multiple pumps.
3 pumps. You might have
Yeah,
3 circular
that's
pumps.
One pump for each zone.
Can you tie the return in series?
There's been a
Like-
circulator pump with it.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, usually the returns will all just funnel right back.
Right, funnel right to
With
The
no real controls on them. The supplies going out will get controlled,
It's the company.
but not the return
yeah,
coming
it's just
back.
going back to the boiler.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've run across a couple bowlers just like that with the circulator pumps with them, with the same valves.
Mhm.
Might have I always see the honeycombs or the beehive, but you
Yeah.
might see the actual turn valves to control which way it's going and flowing.
Okay.
And you see the circulator pumps with those.
Yeah. if it's got the beehive zone valves up here, usually it's a single pump that powers everything. The thermostat will tie back to this, and then this, once it fully opens, then it'll tell the boiler to come on. And there is an unpredictable delay with those beehive valves. You just put power to them and, I don't know, count to a minute, and they'll usually do something by then. And then they'll trip and turn this on.
So you ever run into a problem where the zone valves aren't open and the circulator pump runs?
Yes.
Does that
Yeah.
damage the circulator pump?
No.
No.
The main way to kill a circulator pump is to run it dry.
Yeah, it needs water. It needs to circulate.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, like, okay, so your, it can't circulate because something isn't idling, something isn't opening. If it's not pulling any water, don't they overheat and burn out?
If it's not pulling water,
Yes.
But I think that's got safety. Kevin, you talking about bees?
That usually
Beehive?
But they're-
yeah.
I think there was safety on it, so
So it's a
shut down there or something, it's not pulling. Look, I think it's hard to say.
I haven't seen, honestly, I don't know if they have any kind of thermal cut on them or not, because they're rated for like 250 degrees.
Yeah.
So, as long as there's water on them, they're fine, because the bearings are water cooled, whatever. So as long as that's there and flowing, shouldn't have too much of an issue.
250 degrees is too damn hot. Should never be 250 degrees. Oh, well, okay, sorry, but yeah,
It shouldn't be.
shouldn't be 250 degrees.
But they're, all the new pumps and the way they want it to run now is they want it on the supply pipe coming out of the boiler, which is your hottest water. The old ones are always on the return. The new ones, they're saying is put it straight off of there, because they're ready to take the heat and everything else. So,
You see a lot of them on the side, but
Alright, so the water type, you see the gas type, it doesn't create steam, it just creates like superheated water.
it just heats it.
Okay.
It just pumps out water.
Alright.
once it boils, it just
There is,
stinks.
before water, this little control tells you what your water temperature is, what it wants to be set to. This thing just measures the water temperature, and it'll cycle the burner on and off to match that temperature. So usually, hell, for all intents and purposes, it's 180 degrees is what you set it to.
So it's just like a giant water heater, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
Giant water heater. Same way you had the.
water heater with a pump.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the best way I can put it. Like.
Yeah.
so which one is like more efficient? I know you said the steam is like the one that corrodes the pipes a lot. I
Mhm.
did that one. But which one is like more efficient? Would you prefer like the steam or the
For efficiency, water.
Water.
Um,
Water, definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, I think all radiated heat is a great source of heat. That's why I hear a lot of people be like, "Hey, man, I want to get rid of my boiler and do this." I'll be like, I wouldn't, but you know,
yeah.
it's efficient not only just for your house, as far as heating and stuff like that, but also on your bill. Trust me.
For efficiency, you want the water to be the lowest temperature you can stand in and still get heat throughout the house. Like I say, the AquaSmart thermostat or AquaStat, too redundant for my taste. They have an efficiency function to where they'll lower the water temperature down. The lower your water temperature is, the more effective it's going to be at getting the heat out of the flame going past it. So it's going to be cooler exhaust temp. Steam can't function below 212, so no matter what, that's just always going to be hotter, so it's going to be less efficient.
Bobby, on the Aqua Smarts, you know, there's the 3 dials on there, one for the low temp, one for the high temp, so when it hits the 140, it kicks on, when it hits 180, it kicks off. What does the third one do? You said the temp.
Eco, I think it's like
Yeah, it's like
economy,
eco or
economy
something.
function.
What does that do?
Basic,
Does anybody, I feel like nobody knows.
I do
It's the
know.
mystery dial.
Didn't you read the golden, the 3 bears?
The instruction manual
Got
for it?
too hot, too cold, just right?
Yeah, do you know
Yeah.
Economy setting?
Yeah.
There's like an economy setting on the AquaSmart that I don't know if I should ever touch it.
It tells, like we were just talking about, with how you can run the water temperature cooler for mild seasons. Like right now, it's not really hot, so you don't need, or not
Right.
cold, you don't need that hot of water to heat your house. It'll just overkill it. So what it
Right.
wants to do is it'll try to cool it up and maintain with minimal water temperature. What the economy switch does is it adjusts how aggressive that curve is. So if you go for maximum economy, you might get the chills every so often because it's
Right.
just gonna try to use as little gas as possible. If you turn economy off and say,
So-
fuck it, waste the fuel,
Sound like it's trying to save you money.
So
You
the
can't-
two, the low side and the high side temperature it'll still kick on once it hits, 140 and it'll still kick off at 180, but it just depends on how much gas it'll use to maintain that.
if you set your low temp to 140,
Right.
because you have a combi thing in there, is usually
Right.
when you set the low temp on there, then you can turn that economy switch wherever the hell you want, it's not gonna matter.
Right.
It's like an energy saver.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
Like
It's-
I mean, I figured that's what it was,
I
but I
think
didn't know
eco,
what
I
it was
think of that
doing.
too.
yeah,
Wow.
it
Like
lets
the
your
cars.
boiler,
Right.
it lets your boiler cool down,
Right.
because thermodynamics, the bigger the
Right.
temperature difference, the more efficient heat transfer is.
Right.
So the colder you run that boiler, the more efficient it's gonna be at getting heat out of the combustion.
So.
But if you're running a combi and the thing's gotta stay the same temperature year
Right.
round, it doesn't really matter.
You're
But
gonna
if
see a
it's-
lot of mixing valves on combis too. That's why I say it's like a giant water heater.
Yeah.
You're gonna run across mixing valves on boilers and you're like, what the hell is this? It's a mixing valve. It's
like
supposed to be
anything
there.
else. Don't corrode up and stick.
Yeah.
Is there ever a time you had to move the economy? Because there was something off, or is not enough where they can't notice?
For the most part, it's not really noticeable.
Alright.
Um,
I just want to know if it's something I need to worry about.
Cause some people will be like, hey, I
No.
wanna see a change in my bill.
Right.
Like,
Yeah, you hit the counter for about.
Like I installed like 15 of those things
if it's
last
green,
winter.
you say, right.
Well, in the instruction manual,
economy.
if you read the manual, the economy setting, you
Right.
set the number to the number of zones.
Alright, alright.
And, but it doesn't really say what it does.
Right,
It doesn't
exactly.
say,
So I,
like, this is
to
what
me,
it
it's like
does.
when I hear the Mazda commercial, where they're like, with Sky Active technology. I'm like, that means nothing.
It's absolutely.
It's just the word we made up. It sounded good. We're gonna use that word.
It does.
What is Sky Active technology? What does it do?
It's a great word.
It's not climate change.
Right. Next time you hear a Mazda commercial, they'll say it like you're supposed to know what that means.
You watch it.
Don't went straight to a Mazda commercial.
But, this boilers, any other questions, boilers? Or the diagnosis, anything, any problems that you might run into, anything? Expansion tanks, like I was telling you about that. If you see one in the ceiling, we tap, we all work on water heaters, so we know how to pretty much inspect water heaters. I mean, how to inspect the expansion tank. Tap them, listen for the hollow sound or the ping. You get the ping, that's good. You get the hollow sound, it's a thud, it's kind of filled, change it out. In your house, like a house like mine or any other row house, pretty much. If it's an older house with an older boiler, it's going to have the expansion tank that sits up in the ceiling. You've seen those? You've seen those, the big balloons that sit up in the ceiling? Those. They're drainable. When you drain your boiler, you drain those as well. And that is the best expansion tank that you can get. That's with the boiler, it's with the house, it fits the house. So if you change the boiler out, or whatever, unless it's required, then they say, hey, swap it out, change it. It's really it's harmless, it's not doing anything bad, it's actually great.
Right.
It's actually the best expansion tank that you can get.
What's the purpose of an expansion tank?
Expansion tank?
Yeah.
Well, as the water heats up or whatever it does, it pressurizes, it has to go somewhere. So the expansion tank is like a big balloon. It acts, it's just like a big bubble. Inside of it is, well, the ones that we deal with. We talk about the ones that we deal with, like
Yeah,
water
ones
heaters,
y'all deal
right?
with.
Yeah. Those are just, it's not bad that expansion tank either. Alright, so you got that, you have where your water is, and you have your air. And what it does is, as it's filling, it sucks and takes the pressure off. So the X is inside of it in the middle is like a rubber bladder, which does that. As it's filling or as water gets into it, it sucks the pressure, has it somewhere for it to go.
Oh.
Pressure has to go somewhere.
Instead
So
of
it's-
pipes.
Yeah,
that's
so
what I'm saying.
so it won't overpressurize or anything like that. The
Right.
expansion tank sucks the pressure in.
What
Build
happens?
temperature, you build pressure.
Huh?
Build temperature, you build pressure. So
Yeah.
it goes
Mhm.
inside
The
of.
expansion tank just
Gotcha.
What
Same
happens-
thing for water heater, basically.
yeah.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yep. And
Okay.
with the
I
boilers,
thought it might be something.
Now,
yeah, just don't put the ones for the water heaters on the boiler.
in
See,
truth,
I did that.
they're not as complicated as you think they are.
Right.
They're just not. The water heater ones in the boilers, the threads are different.
Oh, okay.
For the balloon tank ones like that, all boilers have 1/2 inch thread, the residential have 3/4.
Okay.
So it's almost impossible to put them all backwards.
Gotcha.
So what do they say, like,
At the bottom of it is like a little hissing valve too.
what do they say if you go to the store, like domestic and
Hydronic.
hydronic, that's what it says.
Hydronic, domestic.
In truth, you can go one way, you can't go the other. You can put a domestic one on a boiler, like if they're the right size, you can put a domestic on a boiler, you can't go the other way. Because the pressure is way different.
Yep, and you go ahead, see the ones from the water heaters, you might see the ones that we deal with, the little small babies, they're like 30s. The ones that we get for the boilers, they're the big 60s. They're the big ones.
big ones.
Yeah, so if you're taking one out in the house, if you're taking it out, you're installing a whole new fresh boiler from the jump, and you gotta take that little expansion tank out, replacing it with the big giant 60, the biggest expansion tank you can get, because that matches the boiler that you're putting in. Get one that match that, and balances out with the house. You don't wanna put the 30 on the boiler. That's too much pressure,
Yeah, I did that. I'm like,
but,
this the right one.
If a house has a bad expansion tank, how does it show itself? Like, what are the symptoms of it? Before you start testing everything, what are the symptoms of it?
with the bad expansion tank,
Yeah, if you have waterlogged expansion tank, it's just full of water, there's no air in that thing anywhere, what happens?
You said it if you dock what it sound, right?
Yeah, but somebody
You
call